Today, in preparation for the 2023 general election, the All Progressives Congress has kick-started the process to ensure free and fair primaries. The party's National Executive Committee has now devolved its powers to the National Working Committee for a period of 90 days. This was adopted by the NEC gathering at its emergency meeting in Abuja. At the meeting attended by President Muhammadu Buhari, party members were also admonished to work in unity in the interest of the party. Correspondent Habib Alawa reports.
It's the first meeting of party executives since the National Convention. The business of the day here is to take critical decisions and resolutions that will set the pace for the party's activities over the coming months. One of the critical decisions was devolution of powers by the highest organ of the party to the National Working Committee, which means decisions can be taken without recourse to the NEC. Members were asked to refrain from flaring up grievances, but to make Putin the party first their watchword.
It is said that when two elephants fight, the grass suffers. Similarly, when two powerful groups of politicians fight, the party suffers, because it is trampled up underfoot by rich and powerful men. We cannot let this continue, because it constitutes clear and obvious danger to our party. We must have the courage not to be mean-mouthed about it. The serving governors are the leaders of our party in the various states.
We call on all party members to abide by all extant laws, rules, and regulations, and to leaders of our party to avoid imposition of candidates that cannot win popular elections.
Members of the NEC also asked for due process to be followed in the party's activities, leading to the primaries that will produce candidates at all levels. President Muhammadu Buhari also emphasized that the NWC should work to keep the party together.
Survival and self-preservation is the first instinct of any human being. In terms of primaries, please let our members, I'm not asking for favors for our members, but let our members have a fair shake in the primary.
I am constrained to go out of context so that the National Working Committee will be more encouraged that they should go, please, by this, the constitution of the party. Please, how did the APC come about? The PDP sought all the time would remove them. And they choose time to be endless. We recognize it. When I say we, ANPP, ACN, ABGA, CPC, and another party. We formed committees, and we gave the committees terms of reference to go and discuss how we can wrest power from PDP. They are not to take decisions, but they will take recommendations to their respective parties.
According to the schedule of activities released by the party, sale of farms will commence on the 23rd of April and will end on the 6th of May. The proposed schedule of activities for the 2023 general election has been released by the party. It pegs the cost of the presidential ticket at 100 million naira, which is the highest of any political party. Now the ball has been set rolling, and the APC has its eyes set on the general election with the hopes of winning majority votes again. Habib Alawal, TVC News, Abuja.
In the meantime, the All Progressives Congress has released its primary election timetable for various public offices ahead of the 2023 general election. The timetable was released by the party after its National Executive Committee meeting on Wednesday in Abuja. The party's presidential candidates will now pay 100 million naira for the nomination form, while the governorship candidates are to pay 50 million naira. The price of nomination form for State House of Assembly was pegged at 2 million naira, while that of the House of Representatives is 10 million naira. And the Senate at 20 million naira. According to the schedule, the notice of election to state chapters would commence on 22nd April, while sale of forms for the various public offices will begin from 23rd April to 6th May. Meanwhile, the party has approved a 50% reduction in the price of nomination forms for individuals under the age of 40, with the price slash purchase of nomination form for presidential election for under 40 years old is now 50 million naira instead of 100 million. Governorship candidates, 25 million naira instead of 50 million naira, while those vying for the House of Representatives will pay 5 million naira and the Senate hopefuls 10 million naira. We'll be back with more political stories, but in the meantime, let's tell you that the Nigerian Air Force has confirmed the death of 2 officers in the crash involving one of its trainer aircraft in Kaduna State. Director, Public Relations and Information, Air Commodore Edward Gapquet, in a statement on Wednesday, identified the officers as Flight Lieutenant Abubakar Alkali and Flight Flight Lieutenant Elijah Karatu. He revealed that the Chief of Air Staff, Air Marshal Oladayo Amao, visited Kaduna a day after the aircraft crashed to commiserate with families, friends and colleagues of the 2 pilots. The Chief of Air Staff promised that the Air Force would ensure it thoroughly investigates the cause of the crash of the Super Mushak trainer aircraft, as the Air Marshal had constituted an accident investigation board to determine the immediate and remote causes of the crash. He also assured the officers, airmen and airwomen of 401 Flying Training School that all measures would be in place to avert a similar occurrence in the future. And the Inspector General of Police says expert advice has been sought in the case of the death of gospel singer Osinachi Onwachukwu. Her husband, who is being held in connection with her death, was brought by investigators before the police chief following an advocacy visit by the Minister of Women Affairs.
For the death of her husband. Because of the allegation, the husband has been arrested and is undergoing interrogation and if found to have committed this, he will certainly be prosecuted. Meanwhile, in all cases of this nature, there is an expert opinion which is required, and it is because of this that the police have approached the National Hospital, where the corpse is deposited, to conduct a postmortem examination to get an expert opinion as to the cause of death. As soon as this opinion is received at our end, we will finish our investigation and charge the suspect with the court of possible prosecution.
Now, 4 years after President Buhari's rejection of the bill seeking its creation, there's rising hope that the Nigerian Peace Corps may finally be legally established. The National Unity Peace Corps is confident there will be a halt to rising insecurity in 3 months once the Corps is established. National Assembly correspondent Joke Adisa reports.
The 12th of April, the Senate passed for 3rd reading the Nigerian Peace Corps and National Unity Corps bills. In 2018, President Muhammadu Buhari declined assent to the Peace Corps Establishment Bill over security concerns and financial constraints. The 9th National Assembly revisited the legislative exercise, and the 2 bills submitted by the 2 Peace Corps organizations have now passed the 3rd reading at the Senate. For many Nigerian youths, it is hope kept alive as they look onto the House of Representatives for its concurrence to the bill.
Almighty God continue to bless your good work.
The National Unity and Peace Corps is assuring the government of an end to the spike in insecurity in 3 months once the agency is created. While it is confident of an imminent concurrence from the House, it appeals to President Muhammadu Buhari to assent to the bills this time in view of the high unemployment rate and increasing wave of insecurity in the country. It says the agency is proposed to generate its own funds.
President Muhammadu Buhari and then the Senate President and the powers that be, and indeed the APC government, are very willing to establish an organization that will secure the lives and properties of Nigeria through mediation, conflict resolution, community services, and youth empowerment.
The Commandant General says the bill has a blueprint to return Nigeria to its lost glory security-wise. Chinedu Ineji says with the legal backing for the call, there will be a formidable mediation mechanism to make bandits drop their weapons.
We are going to be loyal to the Peace Corps. Is expected to have a desk in all the entry points into the country. What it means is that after the Nigerian Immigration Service have done their routine duty and all the security agencies would have finished their own, you will now meet the Peace Corps. It is now the duty of Peace Corps to register all visitors into the country.
Among the cardinal objectives of the proposed agency is to enlist and orient youths as supporting agents for social order. It is also to detect, collate and analyze intelligence data on matters likely to cause breach of peace and security within the neighborhood. Joke Edsa, TVC News, Abuja.
You're watching Nigeria Today. Let's return to politics now. More youths in Ondo State are bracing up for the 2023 general election as they now dominate many political parties. They're working to dislodge old politicians through active involvement. Ayodeji Moradio has more.
Participation in previous elections in Nigeria has been dominated by elderly people, despite the popular saying that youth are the leaders of tomorrow. But it appears youth are no longer willing to wait till tomorrow to take charge, as they are now taking the bull by the horn. They are now taking their destiny in their own hands and expressing readiness to take the center stage. In Ondo State, southwest Nigeria, the political landscape is now dominated by youth. This is evident in the way they have shown interest in the two dominant political parties in the state.
We're talking about youth. Those are really the people that are able to drive this country. Those are really the people that have the energy. Those are really the people that have the innovation. Those are people that have the capacity to be able to carry these things out. We need dynamic change in this country. We don't need, we've tried things of old, and I think now it's time to try things of new.
Others strongly believe that this is the beginning of good things to come for the youthful population.
I think on the long run, the future is now. When you say youth, all of us are just coming to terms with reality that we must stand up as one unit and then speak to the betterment of everyone, and then we also must take care of ourselves, rule ourselves, and then we can hand over to our children at the time without no grievances or disconnect.
Youth are the future of tomorrow, for tomorrow that never comes. When I was 10 years old, they told me youth are the future of tomorrow. I was 20 years old, they said youth are the future. And now I'm above 40. They are just saying, so when is the tomorrow going to come? So the tomorrow was supposed to be yesterday in a real sense of it. And this time around, we think that we should, put our destiny in our own hands.
As different political parties prepare for their primaries, more youth in Ondo State are stepping up to participate in the political scene. Ayodeji Moradio, TVC News, Akure.
About 100,000 indigent households in Maiduguri have benefited from cash, food and non-food items worth billions of naira, courtesy the state governor Babagana Zulum. The gesture is to cushion the hardships caused by the 12-year Boko Haram insurgency in the state. TVC News' Jessica Fida reports.
There is now relative peace being enjoyed in Borno State, courtesy of the successes recorded by security operators. With many communities now liberated, thousands of IDPs have now been resettled successfully by the state government. But the humanitarian crisis is far from over, and the state government is at the forefront of alleviating the suffering of victims of the insurgency. This 100,000 households are to take home 10,000 naira each in addition to 5 kg bags of rice and sugar, as well as a wrapper each. Governor Babagana Zulum makes it clear that this intervention is to support the needy in this month of Ramadan, especially survivors of the 12-year conflict.
Notwithstanding the successes that we have been recording in Borno State, we still have some certain challenges because many of our younger ones, as well as our able-bodied ones, cannot still have access to the agricultural lands. And that has informed the decision of the Borno State government to continue to provide humanitarian support to the most needed people in the state.
The governor sounds a strong warning to the beneficiaries not to sell the items, but to make use of it for the purpose intended.
I want to assure you that this administration will continue to support the less privileged people that are residing both in the local government areas as well as in Metropolitan Council.
She says there has been a lot of difficulties, but this intervention will go a long way in catering the needs of my children. Many thanks to the state governor. The beneficiaries are urged to use the month of Ramadan and pray for lasting peace in the state. Jessita Fida, TVC News, Maiduguri.
In other news, it's now almost 2 weeks since Rainstorm destroyed many buildings in Igbaja, Ifelodu local government area of Kwara State. While most of the victims are still waiting for aid to come their way, a foundation is offering a hand of help. Correspondent Ibrahim Alege reports.
These are not happy times for many residents of Igbaja after their buildings were blown off by a rainstorm barely 2 weeks ago. Private residences, schools and worship centers, as well as electric poles, were badly affected by the storm. While some minor repairs have been done, many victims who are now homeless squat with relatives. And the rains have just begun.
It was even today we discovered another place has been carted away by Rainstorm, which is the exam hall. In fact, when we got there, we met flood. And the offices, like I said the other time, most of our offices have been blown off. The assembly hall of the school blown off. Most of the classroom blown off by the rainstorm.
It's raining again in Igbaja, and the locals here are apprehensive because of the penultimate weekend's rainstorm, which destroyed many buildings. But thankfully, one of them is here to render assistance to them.
I'm a product of this school, and I know what this school has done for me.
Benga Oyekunle of the Benga Power Foundation is here to empathize with the victims and cushion the effects of the hardships brought about by the rainstorm. He made donations to both his alma mater and the victims of the rainstorm.
On behalf of my foundation, I budgeted 2 million naira for this, just for the first phase. You know, 1 million will go to the residents, the residential houses, while 1 million will go to the school. And we are going to make sure we make the classroom and the offices very conducive for proper learning.
With Mr. Benga Power that come to the school to come and check on the school, the havoc rainstorm has wreaked. So he has come and promised to help the school in making innovations.
Mr. Oyekunle also wants good-spirited individuals to render assistance to the victims.
We can't leave everything for government. Governor Abraman is trying his best, but he can't have budget for everything. He cannot have a budget for what is not envisaged or whatever. So we are the community people, businessmen, philanthropists, we should come and rally around the governor to support the government.
Government officials have equally taken stock of the affected buildings and promised to assist the victims. Ibrahim Alege, TVC News, Igbaja, Kwara.
The Oni of Ife, Oba Adeyeye Ogunwusi, says his stool would continue to champion any cause that will promote and unite Yoruba people around the world. Oba Ogunwusi was addressing journalists ahead of the 4th World Omoluabi Day in May.
The World Omoluabi Day is celebrated annually in Ife in the last 4 years. It's organized to promote unity among Yoruba race irrespective of their locations. Addressing journalists in his palace, Oba Adeyeye Ogunwusi, who spoke through his Director of Media and Public Affairs, Moses Olafari, assures people of all needs support for programs that will promote the race.
We will continue to do what we have always done. Oni has always preached peace. He has always preached unity and unification of all the descendants of Oduduwa. Oni has always preached and worked for the progress of the race. And because we see this festival also as an avenue to always, through which Oni can always, champion his cause, as regards what I've just mentioned before. He will do everything humanly possible, even more than what he has been doing before, to ensure that the event becomes a success.
The president, Yoruba Council of Youths, Dotun Azan, reiterates the need for the Yorubas not to forget their source.
Yoruba land, what we define as Omoluabi is integrity, hard work, perseverance, and sincerity. We have a philosophy on every edition of this program, of this festival. And the philosophy behind this is for us to use the opportunity to address critical issues of national development. And this year's edition is not an exception. And we are believing that our festival and award comes with lecture series.
The event will feature lectures on the need for peaceful coexistence among Nigerians and will be attended by the Vice President, Professor Yemi Osinbajo, and governors of Southwest. Rafiu Hamid, TVC News, Ile-Ife, Osun.
That's Nigeria Today. I'll be back at 10 p.m. with more stories. Stay with us.